This is a 2023 Hyundai Palisade, Hyundai's largest SUV they sell here in the United States, and it's been updated with a mid-cycle refresh for this model year. The Palisade has been with us since 2019. This specific trim is a Hyundai Palisade painted in Moonlight Cloud, and it is a calligraphy model, which is the top of 5 trims in the lineup. That puts it above the SE, SEL, XRT, and limited trims. The XRT trim is brand new for the 2023 model year, part of this mid-cycle update, and it just adds a special, more rugged look to the Palisade. There's more black, there's black trim, there's black wheels, there's a black roof rail and crossbars. And I'll go ahead and put a full list of what makes an XRT stand out on the screen right now, so you can check that out. But the XRT is based on the SEL trim and then specifically spec'd from there. This calligraphy trim stands out with a lot of luxury features like heated seats for all 3 rows. The interior is adorned with some nice Napa leathers, and the driver gets something called an ergo motion seat, which is a specially formed massaging seat that also has adjustable lumbar and bolsters, upper bolsters on the side as well. So it makes it very comfortable for longer trips. All trims of Hyundai Palisade are available in either front or all-wheel drive. Adding all-wheel drive adds $1,900 to the price. My name is Robin Warner, an experienced engineer and magazine editor, and I'll take a massage. Oh yeah, there it is. I review all kinds of cars, from a $25,000 Ford Maverick to a $425,000 Rolls-Royce Cullinan. I'll happily jump into Honda Accords, BMW M3s, and Porsche 911 GT3s. And I have fun every time. Please subscribe and join me. The base price for the 2023 Hyundai Palisade is $36,545. That is for a front-wheel drive SE, and my test car cost $52,310, and that is an all-wheel drive calligraphy with just one option, carpeted floor mats. And you might have noticed that the beginning of this video is a little bit different to what I usually do. That's because I'm actually on a Hyundai trip right now. I've got a badge to prove it right here, and I'm in it for just a shorter amount of time. When I get a chance to do a more complete and full review, I will very happily do that. But I did learn a lot from Hyundai today and yesterday, and I do hope to share as much as I can. With all that in mind, I think this is a great time to pull over and show you around and inside the car in a bit more detail. All right, time to take a closer look at the 2023 updated Hyundai Palisade. And again, this one is the top of the line calligraphy. Some of the biggest styling changes to the car can be seen here right up front. First and foremost, they did work on the cascading grille, adding more texture, more detail, and all these kinds of things to it. It is definitely not subtle, but of all the things we've seen with grills these days, I certainly wouldn't call it bad. These headlights are very cool. So what you see here, all this, that's daytime running lights. These are your headlights, and then your turn signals are right here. So pretty slick. Let me turn the car on real quick. There are the daytime running lights. There are the turn signals. And if it weren't super sunny outside, those would be the headlights. Looking at the car in profile, the car looks largely the same, but it is actually slightly longer. I'll go ahead and put the dimensions up on the screen right now so you can check them out. This is 0.6 of an inch longer than before. Here are your 20-inch wheels for the Hyundai Palisade calligraphy. You get either 18 or 20-inch wheels depending on which trim you choose. The XRT does also get 20s, but they are black. Here is a look at the car in profile from the other side, and I'll take this opportunity to let you know that the 2023 Palisade has what Hyundai calls Digital Key 2, which means you can use your smartphone, iPhone, or Android phone to lock, unlock, and even run the Hyundai Palisade. Looking at the car from the back, they also did tweak the styling of this car. One thing that is noticeable is that the trailer hitch area is now covered. It's underneath that bit right there. And they did some subtle changes to the bumper and the rear fascia in general. One thing I do like is we have these dual exhaust tips hanging out, and those are pretty much real. This is a little bit extra, but you know, it's pretty much the real thing. I'll allow it. And since we're back here, why don't I go ahead and show you space inside. With all 3 rows up, you still do get a decent amount of cargo space. I'll go ahead and put the number on the screen right there. And because this is a calligraphy, you've got lots of buttons to press to help give you more space. Let's start with the 3rd row. Touch of a button and they automatically fold down. That is much more spacious than before, and you still have seating for 4. How about that? But hey, there's more. Just a couple touches of the button and look at all the space you have now, and seating for 2. But I'll go ahead and put the seats back up and show you that space from the inside. Okay, clearly the back row is mainly for kids, but it's easy enough to get back there. One touch of a button, it automatically folds the seat back forward and slides the seat bottom forward, and you actually have decent access. It's not too bad. Adults could be back here for a little while, and if they're cold, it's no problem, because look, you've got adjustable heated seats, and you can fold the seats down from back here as well. Also, you get a USB port, and that's true on both sides. But let's go to the middle. So there is a lot of adjustment built into these 2nd row seats. First of all, you have a bar down here. You can move them fore and aft to have different amounts of leg room. Also, you have this salver right here. If you just pull it, it'll fold the seat flat like that. But you also have 3 different seat back angles that you can choose from. This is the most upright. You can have it like that instead, or leaning back, kind of like economy class airline seats. And speaking of, these actually fold forward a little bit as well to cup the head a little bit and maybe be a little bit more comfortable. Moreover, you also get rear shades, 2 cup holders right here, heated and cooled seats for the 2nd row, and your own climate control options as well. And of course, that's in addition to cigarette plug style charge and AC power right there. You also have USB Type-C for the 2nd row baked into the back of the front row seats. Pretty slick. Now, I am 5'11" or 181 centimeters tall, and I'd say I have about 2 or 3 inches of leg room and plenty of support seat bottom, so my thighs are well supported as well. I have less than 90-degree bend in my knees, and I'd say I have a good 2.5 inches of headroom as well, and that's despite having a moonroof up front. By the way, this is a soft and lovely headliner too. Oh, and I should mention, there's also more natural light to let in back here. Let's look at the front. Well, if the 2nd row passengers get heated and cooled seats, you got to outdo them, right? Well, the driver gets this ergo motion seat, and you get upper bolster adjustment, lumbar adjustment here, and here's your button for seat massaging, and you have 4 different massages to choose from there. You also have the usual controls here and some extra thigh support there if you want it. That's always a nice touch. The door liner looks lovely. You do get 2 position seat memory and the usual controls here. Right here, this is actually one of your driving modes, tow mode right there, and this is how you can turn on and off stability control, traction control, etc., etc. You can open your tailgate from right here, and this is your electric parking brake. This being the calligraphy, we do of course have a nice big head-up display right there, as well as a 12.3-inch instrument cluster screen and a second 12.3-inch center console touchscreen. And we have a 3rd smaller screen right here. This is also a touchscreen and part of the dual zone climate control. Our prindle is just a few buttons. Here is our cooled seats, heated steering wheel, and cooled and heated for the passenger. Push button start. There are your digital gauges right there. And here's a look at the 12.3-inch navigation screen, nice and lit up, as well as that 3rd screen for the dual zone climate control. And as you can see, this also push button. Down low, we have a couple of cup holders right here. And right now it just looks like a lot of space, but check this out. That's a neat little trick. Down here we have a wireless smartphone charger and this is actually 3 times as powerful as the 2022 Palisade. So now it pumps out 15 watts instead of 5 and charges your smartphone much more quickly. And you also have a USB port above that. And this is a good time to let you know that we do have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but it is wired. Beneath here, we have more storage, more charge ports, more space, more space. Looking up, here are your controls for your moonroof up front. It's a manual privacy panel right there, but then also you can open and close the privacy glass in back. The steering wheel itself has been redesigned for 2023 and has plenty of buttons on it. This is all your adaptive cruise control. This is actually how you turn on and off Highway Driving Assist 2 right there. And what modern car would be complete without drive modes? I show you the tow mode over there. Here are your other 6 modes. This is all-wheel drive, lock, and then comfort, eco, snow, smart, and sport right there. All of this is in addition to what I really think is a beautiful interior. I like this grains and the soft touch materials and the Napa leather, but I think it's time to get back to the drive. All right, let's dig into the powertrain. Carried over from previous model year Palisade is the 3.8 liter V6 that makes 291 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. At first glance, that displacement V6 and those peak outputs might seem kind of low. In fact, the Acura MDX does better than that with just 3.5 liters. But one interesting thing about this engine is that it is actually an Atkinson cycle engine, which isn't as good at making peak power given displacement, but it is better at efficiency. But also, you're not wanting for power here. 291 is plenty to push around this 2.25 ton SUV. More importantly, this V6 operates very smoothly and very quietly. It has a nice smooth rev, and it sounds balanced and harmonious, and when you're just chugging along, it is just a distant rumble in the background. Very nicely done, very nicely tuned. Every Palisade gets the exact same 3.8 liter V6 as well as an 8-speed automatic transmission, and it is a nice working 8-speed automatic transmission. Shifts quickly, shifts smoothly. And like I said before, this particular Palisade is all-wheel drive. With all that in mind, you get 19 miles to the gallon in the city, 25 miles to the gallon on the interstate, 21 combined. Those numbers do improve slightly if you get the front-wheel drive Palisade instead, of course. I'll go ahead and put those numbers on the screen as well. But that is, considering the size and weight of this SUV, pretty darn competitive with the class. Fuel economy, very important, very good to know. Not as much fun as accelerating. Doesn't matter how little time I have in a car, I have to test that out. I did that here, let me show you that now. All right, everybody, time for an acceleration test. Not my usual spot. We're actually gonna go a tiny bit uphill, but it'll still give us a good sense of what this vehicle is like, how it accelerates, how smooth it is, how quick it is. So let's give it a shot. Coming to a complete stop. Good bit of brake torque. About 2,000 RPM, off we go. Oh, just the tiniest little touch of wheel slip in the front, and then we're off and going. 6,200 RPM shifts. Good shifts, clean shifts, quick shifts. I should mention that I am in sport mode and I do have traction and stability control off. And yeah, that is perfectly healthy, perfectly adequate acceleration for an SUV of this size that is stout. You're excused to think that this is not an Atkinson cycle engine. The way it accelerates, it is perfectly stout, and I see that it would also have no problem towing a trailer as well. Stout acceleration is the point. Okay, time to get to another important aspect of this car, and that is the quality of the ride, and I have to say it is quite good. Hyundai did a good job to tune the suspension such that it's not floaty or uncontrolled body or anything like that, but yet still plenty supple when you're going over bumps and heaves on the road. It'll go down a rough patch of road nice and smoothly, nice and calmly. Combined with these comfortable seats and these comfortable seat temperatures, it is a very pleasant place to spend time on the road. And that is true on roads like this, which is the interstate. I'm actually driving on the interstate right now. One of the compromises I had to make to put this video together. And I can tell you that this is impressively good on the interstate. At around 75 miles an hour, the 8-speed transmission has a V6 spinning about 2,000 RPM. That's very much in the background. Moreover, part of the mid-cycle update that Hyundai did for the Palisade was add padding and cushioning to different places to improve noise, vibration, and harshness. And what that does is make this very quiet on the interstate. Wind noise is very nicely isolated. Road noise is nicely isolated as well. We were, until just recently, on a concrete patch of interstate, and even then it did a good job to keep the noise down. This is a mainstream priced SUV, 3-row SUV, and it has what I would say is premium SUV, even on the higher end of premium SUV quietness on the interstate. I'm very impressed and happy with how this operates on the interstate, and 25 miles to the gallon isn't all that bad either. Of course, this is a modern car, and all modern cars have driving aids, no exception here. Hyundai calls it Smart Sense, and that includes several standard driving aid features. I'll go ahead and put them on the screen right now. One of them is called Highway Driving Assist, and this car actually has what's called Highway Driving Assist 2. So that takes adaptive cruise control and adds lane centering and other technologies like that. And this one will help with lane changing as well. I currently have the system on right now, so I'll go ahead and take my hands off the wheel. We're going through a subtle curve right now, which you can see, and it's steering for me, and it's doing a pretty good job. It's not perfectly centered on the road, and you can see the wheels kind of trying to figure out where it should be exactly. So it's not quite as good as Toyota/Lexus's lane tracing assist, but it's awfully close, to be honest. And the fact that you can also get its help with lane changes is pretty cool. So I'll go ahead and show you that right now. Turn signal on, hands off the wheel, and there it goes. Yep, it made the change, but then it told me to put my hands back on the wheel. The intention isn't for you to have hands off while you're doing lane changes, but it does show that it will help. It'll use all its sensors and cameras to make sure that the lane is clear in the first place, and then it will actually turn the wheel for you and help you make a nice, smooth lane change. What's critical about Highway Driving Assist is that it has all the mechanisms to keep things safe, but it does it smoothly. It operates smoothly. You don't get these like weird panicky jerks from the car. And that's the part I really appreciate the most. Also, SUV of this size, of course, you might want to tow. Yes, this can tow. If you have a trailer with trailer brakes, Hyundai says it can tow 5,000 pounds, which does get you into Class 3 trailer territory. However, if you don't have trailer brakes, that number drops significantly to just 1,650 pounds, which is pretty common among Hyundais to want you to have trailer brakes if you're going to have any serious load on this truck. I thought Hyundai did a great job when they first came out with the Palisade. The size, the shape, the convenience, what they offered was good. This mid-cycle update, they did a great job to really improve things in tangible ways that are useful every day. And I personally think that the styling was a positive change as well. I personally thought the original Palisade looked nice as well, but I think the daytime running lights are super cool, and the way they incorporated the headlights and all that, and how they kind of emphasized the grille a little bit, but not in a way that was overpowering. And when you add luxuries like the Napa leather and the Ergo Motion seats and 3 rows of heated seats, this really makes a strong case for itself, giving some premium SUV feel with mainstream SUV prices. And that just goes back to one of Hyundai's core strengths that they've had for decades, which is providing lots and lots of value for what you're paying. 52 grand for a car of this size with this many features? That's impressive. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching. And if you are still watching, I would really appreciate it if you like this video. Doing so helps me out quite a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Okay, goodbye. I think it's time for another massage. Oh yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, oh.